about careers inspired by TV. I'm sure we've all watched a TV show, series, or film that has inspired us to want to do a certain career. Whether it's Spider-Man, Batman, or who knows, it could have been a police show. But to give us more of a rundown on careers inspired by TV, we have Poppy O'Toole, who's going to give us a bit of an insight. Poppy, welcome to the show. Great to have you on board.
Hello, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm fully inspired by Spider-Man and Batman as well, to be fair.
Absolutely. It just didn't work out for me, Poppy. I thought I was going to maybe become a superhero, but it didn't quite work out. But anyway, you can give us more of an insight. Maybe so if you just tell our guests a little bit what you do as well, in careers as well, and then we can go from there, yeah, in case they're wondering what was.
Well, I'm the Caped Crusader. No, so I'm a chef. And now a content creator, and I like to call myself the Potato Queen because I make a lot of potatoes on TikTok. But it's all started for me when I was younger, just being obsessed with cooking TV shows, and that was where I got inspired to get into the kitchen, to start my career as a chef, and to become, I suppose, where I am today. I didn't even realise I loved being a TV chef, I suppose, in quotation marks, until I started to realise that actually this is where it all started. I used to love watching TV shows, and it just shows how much inspiration young people can get from their favourite shows, whether that's MasterChef or Bake Off or Grey's Anatomy or anything that we're watching collectively. You can get inspired by, and you can get your family involved in it as well.
No, absolutely. No, for sure. I mean, that's a great point, and I think, you've mentioned there your own sort of experience too. And can you give us sort of more of an insight into sort of the sort of research and more of an insight in terms of like what are the type of shows and because the thing is as well, probably the world's a changed place really from career-wise to what it used to be, at least my perception of it. There's so many more careers, like you've mentioned there, social media, people can make careers in different areas. But give us more of an insight into what type of shows, what type of careers, and any insights as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was some research from Skills for Life that went into surveying teenagers and parents and like how they kind of broach the subject of careers, which is always awkward, because I remember when I was a teenager I was very stubborn with everything and saying, no mom, you don't help me, but it just shows that when we're watching TV together and when kids are watching TV with their parents, there's opportunities for a conversation there. So a lot of the shows that were inspiring teenagers were stuff like MasterChef, we have Bake Off, Stranger Things, Last of Us, all these things. And there's so many careers that are kind of hidden within these shows that you can talk about, and whether it's like scientists, doctors, nurses, chefs, bakers, there's so many things in there, and it's about having those conversations. And 40% of parents surveyed didn't even know where to start with these conversations. So actually being able to kind of watch telly and do it seems really casual and easy to do, which is a nice way to kind of slip into these conversations, which can get a bit awkward.
That's a great shout, to be fair. I think that's a good point you've made there, because obviously, to sort of bring it up just out of the blue is can be awkward. But I suppose if you're watching, for example, maybe a show on science, like you've mentioned there's loads of different shows these days. It's just a wide range of shows, and even like sport as well. They might have an interest in becoming a sports person. We've seen like a lot of people inspired by the Lionesses, for example. They might not go all the way to playing, but they might sort of find their level, and that's for sure. I mean, that's really interesting stuff. So, but I suppose you could maybe bring it out wider as well, like for teachers too. There might be some it might be useful for sort of teachers to have some sort of common ground with students and say, okay, well, did you watch this show, and maybe you could do it too. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's brilliant, because it just brings it to an equal playing field. It's a level, isn't it? So everybody can relate to watching TV, whether it's one of those fictional shows that we mentioned, whether it's sports or anything, and you can always bring it back round to yourself, and you can acknowledge it, which is why I think it's so great to kind of have these conversations about it. And just even like we're saying, being like a scientist, if a teacher can be like, oh, what do you think about how they went about their role in this, I don't know, TV show, there's a conversation that can happen there, and so much more can come from it.
Absolutely, and I mean, what I was thinking of there was, for example, the name was it Cox? His name, Brian Cox, the one who does the space stuff, who's kind of
yeah, it's Brian Cox.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But he people like him have kind of brought. I wouldn't say made science obviously fashionable, but it kind of a different edge to it, doesn't it? It's kind of like yeah.
Yeah, it brings it to the mainstream a bit more, doesn't it? It's more attainable, and that's what it's about. It's realizing you can do that, or you can get involved in that. And if it's something that spikes your passion, you're watching it and getting excited as a kid, you can then have conversations about, how can I get into this? I enjoyed that. How can I know more about it? And that's what the whole campaign's about. And you can go off and search, get the Jump online, which gives you more information about it, and you can also search the National Career Service, which help young people and help anyone actually understand how they can get to where they want to go and the careers that they can do.
Yes, a great shout I think you've made there in terms of anyone as well. I mean, obviously we've talked about young people, but I suppose, where do we draw the line on young type thing? And I suppose there's people out there maybe looking at a career change. There's so many more options these days, and the thing is, Poppy, there's so many people out there who've got so many skills as well, of all ages, and it's kind of, the market's different than it used to be. Obviously there's not that sort of job for life, so to speak, that used to be as much, and do you think this could extend to people, for example, who might find themselves in a situation where they've been in the job for a long time, they've got so many skills, and they might think, what, I'm going to give something else a go?
I really do. I don't think there's ever a bad time to try something new. It's always good, and especially if you feel like you've come to the end of the road in that one job. We're very lucky to be in a society now where it is okay to try and hop jobs and do other things, because like you said, it used to be very much like you have one job and you work there for the most of your life, whereas now we are able to go and create and do new things and try things out, which I think is amazing. And like we said, this goes across the board from teenagers to anybody, and you can we should go for it. I think that's the main take of it, is just go for it. Do what you think's going to make you happier.
Absolutely. I mean, my guess is everything has its own sort of challenges. I mean, I think obviously every job's going to have its own sort of challenges. There's no job in the world that and I think that's part of it too. I suppose there's another story for another day where sort of appreciating that whatever job you do, it's not going to be a walk in the park, so to speak. There are other things to consider, but that's where I think the signposting is key, so they can learn more about it. So someone's perception of maybe being a detective or an FBI agent or whatever it is on TV, then the reality of it sort of, the idea of it's one thing, whatever the job might be, or even being a sports person, but the reality is it's a lot of hard work no matter what you do. But can you signpost people again? I know you've mentioned there, just to remind them, where can they go to find more info and maybe some information on what you do as well, if you're happy to sort of share that too.
Yeah, of course. So you can search Get the Jump into search engines and you'll find loads of information, and also searching the National Careers Service as well, which is a free service. So if you're a bit stuck or you need a little bit of help in the right direction, they can give you loads of information. And if you want to look at any potatoes or food content, then you can find me at Poppy Cooks online.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Poppy. Thanks for your time, and have a fantastic day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.